Yes, it's an exhibition game, but yes, it's a victory against the Cal State LA, the first game victory of the new Becky Burke era. And we're here to break down a little bit of the results, preview the next week or so of basketball, talk a little bit more about the good, the bad, the ugly, what we saw this week from the players, the coaching staff, etc. There's my breakdown, and I'm going to mention a few things that a couple of my buddies who went to the game with me, both of whom are a lot more impartial than I am, what they said about the game and what some of their thoughts are. Now, for those of you who were not there for the game, the U of A stepped out to a pretty big 21-9 first quarter result, which was a very impressive showing. Coach actually started 3 freshmen along with Samaya Sungpong Nolena Cornfield, and then the freshmen Molly Ladwig, Maria Gerardo, and 33 Trammell, right? So it was really a interesting lineup to start with. It was very fascinating to see how she used the lineups, in some ways completely different than last week, including, of course, a couple players that did not play. Number 11 Welch did not play. She was not suited up. And interestingly enough, we'll talk a little bit more about Adebayo and C. Blessings. There was some conversation between me and my friends about her. So 21-9, this game saw 3 different types of technical fouls, which were fascinating. And we go into half being outscored in the second quarter 13-14, up 34-23, including a last-second shot, which saw a very good point guard. Their guards had very strong play. It was a good challenge for our guards. Just forcing a shot into one of our players, and no call. And I think it was the right call in this instance. And as she's walking away, jawing with the ref all the way down the court, he finally tees her up. Our bench is already mostly into the locker room, so we came back out to the second half, starting with a couple of free throws. The second half was really kind of a slog. We seemed to lose momentum throughout the second half. They outscored us 11-15, giving us a 45-38 lead at the end of the third quarter. That 7-point lead would go down to, I believe, 4. But they didn't score much, and we didn't score much in that fourth quarter. We outscored them 14-5. They just started missing shots, in my opinion, and we ended up walking away with a 59-43 victory, scoring the last 10 points of the game in what was really a fascinating game. So technical one, at the end of the half, they get that. There's this odd play where Samaya was coming down the court, and she kind of got tripped up and tangled in with another player. It was a no call. She rolls over the ball. Feet go up in the air. Her feet hit the face of a player from the other team. Immediately, the ref calls a foul on Samaya, on our player, and it was wild because then they went to review, and my buddies are like, "Are they going to overturn it?" I was like, "No, the only thing they could be doing here is to review that play to go up to either a flagrant 1 or flagrant 2, and the option to a flagrant 1 is going to be a lower level foul. Flagrant 2, they can I don't know if they automatically have to kick the player out or not, but it was a wild play because her foot did hit the defender's face. Also, incidental contact, I don't know what the rules are, but apparently any head and face contact can get you an immediate flagrant 1 in the current day and age of basketball, which is a fascinating day and age indeed, as the last and final technical, by the way, it was upgraded to a flagrant 1. The last and final technical was on our point guard Cornfield, who after picking the pocket of the opponent's point guard, say that 5 times fast, at midcourt, open day robbery, just beautiful steal, has a couple steps on her, goes up for the layup, turns around and blows her a kiss, instant tee. Now this was interesting. This is where I'm an old man, get off my lawn. Last week I had mentioned how I really liked her game because she didn't seem to worry too much about talking or showing other people up. She mostly let her gameplay, speak for itself. This was the opposite of that. And I know there was jawing in that game. Like both of the other team had 2 really exceptional guards that I could tell were doing a little bit of talking And it was just a fascinating back and forth. But blowing the kiss, get the tee. Both my buddies with me were like, "You got to bench her immediately. You've got to sit her down and send a message that is not how we perform. That's not how we act. You don't want to get the reputation of just being that type of team where you're in the way I grew up, right? To me, that's just kind of like nonsense, not necessary. You just go out and beat them, right? You just there's a different way to do things. But she stayed in the game, coach's decision, and yeah, there you go. So what did we see this week compared to last week? Well, we out rebounded them, which was good, which was coach's like one of her number one things compared to last week. This team was a little bit smaller than the last team. And one of the things that I found interesting, it was a very different game. Cameron Kitchen's hardly got any. I'm sorry if I keep putting an S at the end of your name, Cameron. I know. Cameron Kitchen getting a lot of minutes in the first half, especially of this game. And last game, she didn't play that much. Purdue not starting, getting most of her minutes at the end of the game. We finally saw from Purdue what I think coach expects from her, which is you saw her, it looked like she stopped thinking about things and just started playing basketball. I can see, I'm still not convinced on the shot, even though she was doing great, and it'll come. It'll come. Coach says it'll come. It'll come. But I saw the very natural ability to like understand the game of basketball from a very one-on-one offensive perspective. Shooter's going to shoot, making a move at the right time. She had a couple layups that kind of rolled out. Otherwise we would have had, I think, quite a bit better lead. So she played better mostly at the end of the game. Cameron Kitchen, what I really liked from her, I'm not seeing the game I thought I was going to see out of her. I thought maybe she'd be a lot more offensive minded. Instead, I saw a couple of really nice passes, which I'm very excited about because I wasn't sure about our passing game last week. It wasn't there from our guards, which I was at the preseason thinking our guard play was going to be really good. Once again, kids haven't played together a whole lot yet. I think a lot of things are going to come together, including that combination between Sungpong and MJ, number 8, Gerardo. They have Samaya actually called her twin, probably because they're both of an Asian descent. But you watch them play, and they definitely had a couple plays together where you could see a very natural connection between the two of them. So it was good to see some of that. The big coming out party for me, I think, was probably the forwards. And I was thinking a lot more about the forward positions. And I'm kind of excited. What was interesting is you've got number 10, Wallace, who's a senior from Kansas. She didn't play very much. Honore Francois, who's a senior, 6'2 senior from New Orleans. Now, number 13, she's interesting because she was saying after the game that you would have 85 fans at the game. And most of them were for the other team, which was a fascinating thing. I like what both of them have to offer in size, hustle, athleticism. The fascinating one for me was still number 14, sophomore Blessings. She was interesting because both of my cohorts with me thought she looked like the best athlete on the court for our forwards, and she only played in the first half, mostly sparingly. She only has 1 year of college ball. Her stats were crazy. She played apparently in Japan, 15 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 7 blocks a game. And I don't know if coach has a doghouse. I don't know if she twisted an ankle. It could have been anything. But her play was really impressive in the minutes that she got in the first half. Maybe she's just young. I think you're going to see a lot of that. But coach is giving number 33, Denia Trammell, a lot of time at 6'1". And the difference, I think, between her and like Francois, number 13, is that experience. But what's interesting as I was thinking more about this lineup with these forwards, I think we actually have good potential with our forward positions. Now, the difficulties, of course, you don't have a natural 6'5". I know we have Achol at 6'7", but she is going to be a big forward who's going to get us some quality minutes here and there. But as far as like the speed of the game, when you're running up and down a lot, you're going to need some of these forwards that are in that 6'2", 6'3" vein that are athletic. And I actually am pretty excited. Last year we had a lot of rebounding by committee. You had games where Isis Bay really did it, or Brea could do it, but you had some guards that could rebound pretty good, right? I mean, Skylar was super athletic and she could rebound. But we really didn't have forwards the last couple of years at the U of A. I mean, we had obviously some talent, but Knezovic was listed as a forward, and Jordan Ross, and I thought Knezovic was a lot more of a three. That maybe she's a stretch four. Of course, you had Isis Bay, and then you had Ja, who we all saw play, who was fantastically athletic and also very unfocused. I mean, I think we all saw that when she played. So I'm excited for the possibilities of the future with, the kids this year that are seniors, I'm happy they're here. I'm glad they came. But this lineup of these four forwards actually gives me some hope at the forward position in general, that we can actually run out a nice two forward combination with three guards at times. And of course, our guard position, number 8 from Spain, she's MJ. She's a 6-footer, true freshman. She's got some size and athleticism. She can shoot, and so you can play her at 4 a little bit and run a smaller lineup with 3 guards. Whether it's Cornfield and Sugapong and Purdue, or get Kitchen out there, and you have a nice little group of lineups here. So what are we doing after this win? What are we seeing here? What are we going to see moving forward? How's the season going to look? I'm still going to say, if we come out of the preseason, which by the way, all the games are at home, if we come out 7-4, I think it's a good sign. My one friend seen a ton of D2 basketball, and his comment was like, we're a high D2 team or a low D1 team right now, which I think is fair. But also, if you look at our schedule lining up here, I think that our preseason schedule gives us an opportunity to win some games, get some confidence, and get some chemistry, because that's really something that we're going to need to cook with. Interesting point here, we have 4 teams in common with SMU, our former coach's team, Adia Barnes' team, and both of our preseason games, our exhibition games, were with the same 2 teams, West Texas A&M and Cal State LA. And those 2 games, both those games, it looks like both teams scored more on SMU, which I find fascinating, considering Adia has always hanged her hat on the defensive end. And of course, SMU did beat West Texas A&M. We had the loss there. That Cal State game, we win 59-43. They beat Cal State LA 84-49. We have 2 more games in common. We both played Grambling in Southern, and this is not really probably relevant to most people outside of course, the conversation as a U of A fan, but for us as U of A fans, kind of keep an eye on some of the older players, and of course, see what Adia Barnes is up to over at SMU. At least I am. So Grambling, they play November 4th. We play November 16th. Southern, we play December 3rd. They play December 21. So just something to kind of keep an eye on. Now that you're aware of it, you can kind of see what they're up to over at SMU. As far as this week's game goes, oh boy, November 6th at 6 o'clock, UC Riverside. This is a team that was 17 and 15 last year. I don't know a lot about them. It's fascinating to me that this is a D1 school, but there's a whole lot of D1 schools now that weren't D1 schools like 5 years ago. Or maybe if you were more into like the 10 or 15 years ago basketball, there's a ton more schools that have D1 representation now. So it looks like a team that should be a win for us, a team that's probably going to line up for us a little bit more height for height. So a lot of the preseason games, I think we're going to have teams that are going to size with us pretty good before we get to the Big 12, where we're going to have a lot of teams that I think are going to outsize us. Like Coach said, though, the goal is to not have any of them out hustle us. I will be fascinated to see as the season goes on kind of how the rotation develops, who gets more time and who doesn't. From the little I've seen of the different players, it's hard for me to really assert a whole lot besides the fact that you kind of need either Cornfield or Sugapong on the court at all time, kind of at point guard position, with your scoring guards, Kitchen and Purdue, playing off of that. Not and it's just after that you got such a nice mix and match. And this last week we didn't even get to see Welch play because it looked like she was banged up, maybe an ankle brace or something. But I thought from watching her play, she's a 5'10" redshirt junior who he played at Memphis last year, and I really thought that she had some potential. She looked really athletic. So we have so many things still to see here. We got one game next week here on, well, this coming week, actually, I guess we can say 2 games. So we got the Thursday game against UC Riverside, and then the November 9th game, 2 p.m. against UC Irvine. So back-to-back UC schools, and we'll see how we come out of that. I'll probably do a video recap on the pair of them. We'll see where it is. Well, let's bear down. Go Cats.